Hey everybody, welcome back to day 3 of our front-end masterclass. We are making great progress. Yesterday we learned how to add lists, links, images and navigation to our websites. Your personal pages should now look much more professional with proper navigation menus and visual content. Today we are covering two really important topics that will take your HTML skills to the next level, which are forms and semantic HTML. So forms let users interact with your website by submitting information, and semantic HTML makes your code more meaningful and accessible. These are skills that every professional web developer needs to know, and by the end of today's class, you'll be able to create contact forms and structure your pages like the pros do. Today, we are focusing on creating different types of form elements, text inputs, drop-downs, buttons, form validation to make sure users enter the right information. Semantic HTML elements that give meaning to your page structure. Accessibility basics to make sure your sites are usable by everyone. And also HTML best practices for clean professional code. This is going to be a packed lesson, but everything builds together nicely. So let's start with forms. Okay, forms are how users interact with websites. Every time you sign up for something, contact a business, or leave a review, you are using a form. Every form starts with the form element. Let me show it to you. Something like this. Something like this. This is the form element. And the action attribute tells the browser where to send the form data when submitted. Okay. And there is also an attribute called method, which mostly used either post or get. Okay. It tells how to send the data. For now, we'll focus on the form elements themselves. Okay. So let's check out text input fields in forms. The most common form element is the text input, as you know. So let me show that to you. Okay. Okay, there you go. As you can see in our browser, we have this input called name, right? And it's connected with the label using the name attribute. Okay. The label creates a clickable label for the input, right? And the for attribute connects the label to the input using the input's ID, right? So the ID name should be the same as the for attribute's name. Type text creates a single line text field. ID gives the input a unique identifier. We'll get back to that when we start CSS. And the name attribute is what gets sent to the server. And, and there is also this attribute which is required, like this. They mostly use it as the last attribute. And what required does that is that it makes the field mandatory. So you must fill the form field. Okay, this is a basic form input element. There are many input elements in HTML. So let's start. Let me show you some of them. You see, this one that we just already wrote is just for plain text, right? We have for email, which looked something like this. Let's say label for email, email address. Okay. input email, right? Email, email. So as you can see, these are email here. So here, this value here is expecting an email address, right? So let me put the required attribute. And also this specifies like this. You can be able to use the text input type for email, but it cannot verify. But if you use the email input type, it will make sure it verifies the email correctly. Okay, let me show you an example. Let's say button submit, right? So now when I try to submit, you can see the required makes this field to be mandatory, so it must be filled, right? And also the email. Now what will happen as I type? You see, include an @ sign in the email address. It will verify the email structure. So the name, the domain name, and everything must be there for it to work. So let's say at Gmail. But keep in mind that this is just a basic validation, right? Okay, we also have password inputs. Okay, this is how they look. It doesn't matter whatever you put in the 4 attribute. Just make sure that they are the same with the others, and you can connect them with the input field. Okay, what as I type, you see? Okay, this is how it looked like in real life. So as you can, okay, we also have a number input, right? Actually, let me just copy this one, paste it. This is for, let's say, number. Let's say H. H. Okay. So as you can see, oops, I didn't change the type. It looks something like this. Okay, as you can see, you cannot type in text or anything in there. It must be numbers column, right? So we also have a date picker input. Look like this. Date, date, right? Input. As you can see, there are many types. You can choose date time or date time local, or just date, right? It should be date, and also ID should. So let's try picking our date here. All right, that worked. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so we also have a phone number input, right? Like this. Let's say label for phone, and then input. Uh, okay, just look at this as I type. You can see my number there already. It's auto-filling it, right? Well, as you can see, it connects it directly, right? Okay, this is how it looks like. Each each input type gives you built-in validation and appropriate mobile keywords. Text area for long text. We use text area input for long text like messages or comments, and it looks something like this. Label for message. Let's say your message, right? Let's say text area. Okay. You can also define its width and height, or whether they should scale or not, right? So as you can see, has this it has these attributes called rows and calls, right? Let's say 30 rows and 30 calls. Okay. Something like this. All right, something like this. Okay, there you go. And you can also allow it. The placeholder attribute should hide the text inside the field. All this along, I didn't show you the placeholder attribute. And what this does, it's a hint to the user of what can be entered in the control, as you can see written there. So let's say your message here, or type type actually type your message here. All right, as you can see, it appeared there, right? So this is how it looks, right? And also we have drop down for choosing from a list of options. And the way this works is this. Let me show it to you. I hope you're understanding what I'm doing right here. If you don't understand anything, you could comment under the video or in the WhatsApp group chat. Or feel free to reach me even in my DM. Let's say label for country, then country, right? So here, how we do drop downs is we use the menu, select element, and select is like this. Select ID, country, right? select ID, name, country. Also, let's make this field mandatory by adding the required. So inside of it, as you can see, it already created this drop down icon even without me adding any options. So let's say option, let's say US, United States, right? Nigeria, that's my country. Okay, let's say UK, United Kingdom. Okay, the first empty option, right? We're supposed to put one empty option out there, right? The first one that will be displayed over there, so that it should not select United States as default. So let's do that and add it as what? The value should be empty actually. And let's say choose your country. Choose your country. Okay, there we go. Okay, as you can see, this is a working drop down menu, right? The first empty option acts as a placeholder for it. So we also have radio buttons and checkboxes. Radio buttons are for choosing one option from several. And the way this works is like this. Okay, let's say we have this. Let's say we have this element here and this. Say legend. Preferred contact method, right? And then input should be radio, right? Input type radio. And the ID should be contact email. Say, and what connects them together is the name attribute here. Contact method. Say contact email. Okay. Okay. Can you see it there? So actually, let's duplicate this one like this. So let me separate them into three parts. And the second one should be contact form. Second one should be contact form. and the ID should be contact phone too. Oh, sorry, the name should be contact method because that's what connects them all together, right? And here say phone, right? Are you seeing what I'm doing there? Watch closely and understand what's going on there. And also we have contact text. Sorry, contact method, and then contact text, right? Let me update the label here. Contact method, and here to contact method. Okay, as you can see, you can select either email or phone. Oh, sorry, the last one is also email. Let's say text, right? So this is how it works. All radio buttons with the same name are grouped together. So this is how radio buttons work. Now let's dive into checkboxes. Checkboxes are for multiple selections. You notice the difference, right? You only choose one option in radio buttons, while for checkbox you can choose multiple options. Field set. Interests, right? So in the interest, let's say input checkbox, and the name should be interests. ID should be interest web, right? And the name should be, oops, already written this one. So let's add a label. Let's add a label and say interest web. And inside that label we add web development, right? So this is the first option, right? First interest. Let me duplicate this into at least 4. Okay, the first one is interest graphic interest, actually let's just say interest design, right? And there we say design. Label should be interest design too. Excuse me. Okay, can you see that? So I think there's a little mistake out there. The fourth attribute is interest design. So until is interest design, right? The name, all of the names will be interests. Okay. Anyways, let's do the other ones. Let's say marketing, digital marketing, right? Let me just delete this one. Preferred contact method here, as you can see for the radio boxes, you only choose one option. But here, you'll be able to select, you can even select all of them eventually, right? So we have form buttons also, apart from radio buttons and checkboxes. We also have buttons. Every form needs a submit button. The one we have been using so far here, we have already been using that since, right? We also have receipt buttons and regular buttons. You just need to change the type to either receipt or something. Let me just show you an example with this one. The first one is submit, right? Let's make the second one as reset. And now if you try to fill in everything, you see it receipted everything. I hope you're loving it so far. Have a great day here. Okay, so we also have a regular button, which is just type button like that, which has the type of button. You will use this a lot in your website, right? I think it's actually time. So there are form validation attributes in HTML5. For example, the required attribute minimum and maximum length. You can use minimum and maximum lengths. There's also pattern matching, right? Also use the pattern attribute. So let me show that to you. Let's say form validations, right? So let's start with the minimum maximum. Since we have been using the required attribute since, let's do the minimum and maximum. So input text min length. Minimum length should be 3 and max length should be 6. Let's say 6. And the place should be required. Okay, so let's say name, right? So actually, let me comment everything above. Those that you are done with them, let me comment them out. for us to know what you're doing, right? You may wrap them. Okay, so these are submit button, right? I guess we don't need this one too. And this one right here, change it to submit. Okay, let's try to submit this. Sorry. Okay, let's try to submit this and see. Okay, can you see that? Lengthen this text to 3 characters or more. You are only using 1 character. Let's add another one. And yeah, cool. You see, only 6 characters. No matter what, it stays between length 3 and 6. So this is how it works actually. So, and for numbers, this is for text. For text input fields, we can be able to use min len and max len. And for numbers, we use the min and max. Let me show that to you. So let me just copy this one down and say no label for number, right? Okay, so we don't need all this. Then we just need min and max like that. You see, it stays between what? It stays between 3 and 6 still. So this is how it works actually. Okay guys, so great. Let's now create a complete contact form with all we have learned so far. Let me comment those out. Okay, there you go. So we are going to create a form that contains full name, email address, phone number, subject for inquiry, and message in a text area. Right? Let's get started. There is this text area attribute that I forgot to tell you about, which is the resize. Okay, so as you can see, for now you can be able to resize both vertical and horizontal. You can change the set. You can say resize both, I think on right, but for now let's leave it for both for better flexibility. Okay, there you go. Our form is ready. So as you can see, it consists, as you can see, we now have the proper contact form which contains full name, email address, subject of inquiry, message, and two buttons for clear and submit. Let's try and fill that form. Let's say I make this thing required. Okay. Okay, there you go. Or you could also use the submit, or let's say the reset button, the clear form button. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, let's say you have all this kind of information fields. See? So that's all about HTML forms input elements. Now let's look at semantic HTML. Using the right elements helps with search engine optimization, accessibility for users with disabilities, code maintainability. Let me show you the key semantic elements. Let me comment this form out for now. Okay. So it looks something like this. Header, which contains site header, logo, navigations, main navigation, pages. Let's say my website. Okay. We also have the nav semantic element, which is for creating navigational links, right? About, contact, portfolio. And we also have the main element like this. So this is where you input the main content of the page. So let me write it down. Let's say my latest blog posts. Okay, we also have section semantic element, right? This is for thematic sections of content. Let's say about me. So let's wrap that inside of a heading. Okay, say information about me. And we also have aside, which is for sidebar content, related links, ads, etc. Let's say we have this called related links. Let's say link 1, three, 2. Okay, we also have footer, right? Like side footer, copyright, contact info, etc. And actually, let me give an example for that. Let's say and copy. All right. Well, let's say 2025. My website. All rights reserved. So that's all for semantic HTML elements. Okay. You can use header for top of page or section. Contains navigation, logos, introductory content like hero section. Okay, and the nav element is for navigation menus, table of contents, breadcrumbs, etc. And the main element is for primary content of the page. It should be only one. There should be only one main element per page in your website. And the article element is for self-content like blogs, news, articles, comments, etc. The section is thematic grouping of content with their own headings. Aside element is for content related to but separate from main content. And footer is the bottom of the page, which contains copyright, contact info, links, and others. But what is the difference between section, article, and div? This confuses many people. Article element could stand alone as its own piece of content. Section is part of a larger document, its context. And div has no semantic meaning, just for styling or grouping. It will make more sense when we start CSS. Okay, let's create a complete semantic page structure. I'm gonna comment that out, the ones that I just showed you. Okay, let's say complete semantic page structure. Now let's say header, John Smith, right? And let's create a navigation inside of the header. You see that? Okay, now let's create our main section under the header section. Passionate web developer, and also section for skills. Say HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? Let's create another section inside of the main still, and that is for contact, right? Say get in touch. Then let's close the main and then create our own footer. And let's say and copy 2025 John Smith, all rights reserved. Okay, so that's it. And now let's talk about accessibility. Accessibility means making your websites usable by everyone, including people with disabilities. Key accessibility principles are: you should always use labels with form inputs. Okay. Use proper heading hierarchy. Provide alt text for images. Use semantic HTML elements. And here are HTML best practices. 1. Keep your code clean and indented. 2. Use lowercase for all HTML elements and attributes. 3. Always close your tags properly. 4. Use descriptive class and ID names for CSS styling. 5. Validate your HTML. Use online validators to check for errors. There are many HTML validators out there. Comment your code where necessary, like we have been doing. In the next video, I'm gonna tell you about comments. Okay. Excellent work today. We covered forms and semantic HTML, two crucial skills for any web developer. You know how to collect user input, structure pages meaningfully, and make your sites accessible to everyone. These are the building blocks of professional web development. Tomorrow we start CSS. Keep that in mind. We'll learn how to make everything we have built look beautiful and professional. Complete today's assignment by 7 p.m. tomorrow, and don't hesitate to ask questions in the group chat whenever you need to. See you tomorrow for day 4, our first dive into CSS styling. Goodbye and happy coding.